And we're good. Hey, happy Monday. I was gonna say Ops Insider community. We do these videos for our private community, and this week was my turn. Chris and I rotate our little newsletters to them. But this is our real estate operations community. This is our broad Facebook community, where we are doing our week 3 now of our real estate unfiltered conversations, just real talk, that people don't always talk about. So hopefully you're having a decent Monday. Chris was just telling me how her Monday's been.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah, it is. It is. And I have to look at it. It's okay to vent for a second, guys. Like, we are all human, and we are so grateful that we have a short week this week. I mean, really, really grateful. But,
Short
but
week.
it's like we have to cram our 5-day week into 3 days, and sometimes that's overwhelming, especially when you're like me and I live and die by my schedule, and the slightest little thing that throws it off, I feel like everything is just off the rest of the day. And I know that's a mental thing, and I probably just need some therapy for it, truthfully. And nothing wrong with some therapy because it fix a lot of things. However, what it also shows us is that we are way more capable than we give ourselves credit for, and we could be way more productive than we actually are. And it's just about balance and prioritizing things, right? So, I mean, how long are you really scrolling on Facebook when you're making your post extra, where you can just post and keep on moving? So it has taught me over the years of fitting those short weeks into, all the stuff into those short weeks, I should say. It has taught me that maybe I'm not prioritizing every day like I should to the max, or even allowing for a little wiggle room. So, I
Yeah, I
mean,
think that's a good point because realistically, even us as ops people, like prioritization is something that like you just always need to keep practicing at, right? Because you get to decide what's a priority to you. So this is where I like my coaching side comes out where I come at people who are like, well, I don't have time to legion, or I don't have time to door knock, or I don't have time to whatever it is. You will always make time for something that's important to you. And that's the same with relationships. There's the reality of it, right? Like someone who is important to you, you feel like you don't have time to date, but all of a sudden you meet like the one, you're finding time to be on the phone till all hours of the night or to squeeze in that lunch date, coffee date, dinner date, whatever it is, right? Because it's now carried some higher level of importance to you, or even like you don't have time for I don't know, doing lead gen at home or whatever the case is. And yet, if you got a free trip to a conference, all expenses paid, all of a sudden you're finding a way to take those 3 days away out of your business to go travel because it's all expenses paid and because you see the value in the conference, for example. So it's just being honest with yourself and, as harsh as it might sound, if you don't have time sometimes for things that theoretically should be important, it's just because it's not important enough to you, right? And so that's what Chris and I were saying before we hopped on live, right? Talking about like the short work week, like all of a sudden, especially if you're the one cooking, and bless your hearts, I'm not. Like my sister, I'm at her house right now. Bless her heart for being the one who hosts every year. And I know Carissa, bless your heart for being one of those who does host, right? So a lot of the chefs, right, who might be listening to this, like you're taking Wednesday off or as best as you can, half the day if you can, right? Because you're going to need to be doing prep work and all of that to get ready for Thursday. So you're really down to like 2 days now, right? And that's assuming that you actually want to try to rest on Friday and Saturday, right? Maybe you'll do some showings this weekend if you must, if you're an agent versus like an ops person, but it's just one of those things, right? So how do you then squeeze what you have to get done into those 2 really intentional days of work? And maybe that is when you're willing to stay up till 2 a.m. to get a little bit extra done to ensure that you don't have to do work on Wednesday when you know that you just need to be focused on other things. So I think it's something one of my old bosses always used to say is like, we can do anything temporarily. And that's something I carry with me to this day when I'm working crazy hours, like when we have a course launch or something and we're meeting multiple times a week, we're staying up late on, both burning the candle at both ends. But it's because we know it's temporary. It's because we know it's like a week, 2 weeks, whatever it is, building up to a launch of something. It's not going to be the next year. It's not going to be forever, right? And so you can do anything temporarily if you put your mind to it and if it's important enough to you.
yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more. But it also brings up the point that how you say if it's important to you. So how many things are you putting on your plate that aren't important that you could probably eliminate? So while we're trying to squeeze it all into those 3 days, I want you to reflect and say, like, what are some of these things that I either A, shouldn't be doing or don't need to be doing anymore because it is not a priority, right?
What is it we say? Delegate, delete. I always forget. It's like you could delegate, you could delete it, or there's a third D.
Delegate, delete, or
I'm gonna look it
it's,
up because we
yeah,
include it in our newsletter every week to our ops insiders. But yeah, keep
exactly.
going.
But that, I mean, but really it's one of those things that like even when I go on vacation, it I have a system.
Delay. Sorry,
Yeah.
delay. That was
Yeah,
the
and
word.
delay. And that's the thing is like
Yeah.
I have to look at it like today I was running around with my hair on fire, literally just because I added an additional thing onto my week this week on top of having a short week. But I'm like, after like sitting down talking to Josie, I'm really thinking, I'm like, what could I have delayed? Like, not everything needed to get done today that I did. And what needed to get done, I obviously was going to make time for it because it's important. But even creating I know you guys are probably tired of hearing us talk about systems, but guess what? We're going to talk about systems. Um, think about like those weeks that you do have vacations and stuff like that. Utilize that as a time to create a system around that. Do you have an autoresponder? Do you have like when I go on vacation, I know there's some people that completely unplug. My brain doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. And I don't care who you are, what you're doing, do what works for you. But I have to touch my email at least once or twice a day, just depending on, when my vacation falls on. If I'm taking like 4 or 5 days, 1 or 2 times a day. And that's just so that I have peace of mind. Most of my stuff is leveraged to who needs to handle it. But for me to be able to relax, I have to do that. So,
I agree, because then otherwise you're coming back to like 100 unread emails, right? Where
yes.
you could clear your inbox, like take 20 minutes in the morning or whatever it might be, just clear it, touch it, delete it, whatever. Like even the spam emails, right? Like, yeah,
Yes, and it's for peace of mind, so you have more relaxation, so that you can go sit on the beach and not worry about what you're coming back to. And it's the same thing with like this week. So I legit want to be able to unplug on Friday. And I say Friday because I am one that is in the kitchen. So I'm like going to be cooking, cleaning, doing all of the things. So Thursday is hard for me to relax up until a certain point. But Friday, I want to unplug. Like, I literally don't want to think of work life. So I am squeezing it all in and prioritizing things and stressing, like Josie said, short term, like anything short term, because I know I get a day off. But I was joking. I was like, when we do get these days off, do we really get a day? We really don't. We just cram it all in a shorter amount of time. So we're either paying for it up front or on the end. So we all
hmm
have the same tax. It's a matter of how we're allotting it. So I just thought it was
right.
a good conversation to kind of talk about today because all of us in some way, shape, or form are going to feel it. Even if you're a real estate agent who's out showing, I'm sure you're slowing down just enough that you can spend some time with your family. So think about how you can, either delay, delegate, or
Delete.
delete
Right. If it
because
really doesn't need to happen, just squash it. Like we don't even need to be worried about this. Like we'll revisit that in 2026. Like or next week, whatever, right? Absolutely. I think the other piece of it is decide when can you actually get things done. Like Friday morning, usually the day after Thanksgiving, like I don't want to be bothered. Like I like to just whether I sleep in or if I just lay there and I'm a vegetable for a few hours and like have a slow morning, I usually will work my way back over to my sister. Like I'll go home Thursday and then I'll come back for 5 minutes away from each other. Shoot, they might see me at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, whatever, but that's just my decompressed time. And yet if there's stuff that I need to do, I'm okay with doing stuff on Saturday, maybe, right? Like we have a Friendsgiving Saturday night, but during the day, like it's fairly open and I want to keep it open. I don't necessarily want to be traveling and or Sunday. So like if I had stuff that like I needed to do, but I didn't necessarily need to do by tomorrow or by Wednesday, I'd be okay to push it to, like I said, Saturday or Sunday, for example. So just decide for yourself when are you potentially okay with shifting some of that, right? I think it's important that It's one thing if you just delete it because it really doesn't need to happen, and then just don't do it. Like just get it out of your head. Be okay with this decision to let it go, right? It's another thing if you need to delay it. So when can you actually delay it to? Just don't say I'll get to it later, but put it on your calendar, whether later is going to be after the holiday per se, or if it's going to be another week, then that's fine, but put it on the calendar about when that's going to actually happen. And then, the delegate, for sure, the delegate. There's so many things that people just don't think to delegate, especially the agents with their admins, right? Like utilize them. I forgot to tell that. I'm gonna ask her after our call today, but I wanted her to record a Thanksgiving video, for example, for our database, and I'll send it out though. So like, I want her to do it because she's the team owner. So just a nice Thanksgiving message, and yet I wouldn't expect her to sit there and then have to send it out to everybody. Like I can do that part. That's part of my role, right? And so and someone I posted that somewhere, somebody was like, oh, you could just record it, like no excuses. And I was like, no, that is something that wouldn't necessarily be received as well if I recorded it. Like some people know my face, but for our entire database of just Mets and things like that should come from, team agents or the team owner or whatever the case is. That video is not something that she should delegate, for example, but getting it sent out to the right people, absolutely. Getting it, edited, tweaked up, jazzed up marketing, whatever, absolutely. She can delegate all of that part of it. So just have some honest conversations with yourself and with your support team. If you have some, if you have even one VA, what is something that you can leverage to them to help get off of your plate? And same thing, whether does it need to be done this week or you're leveraging it and then you just give them a deadline or a time frame by when you want them to do X, Y, or Z for you.
So when you just saying that made me realize that you can make that a system. In the beginning
Mm.
of the year, you need to have Val record all of her holiday greetings for you so you have them. Like that's part of your market.
Oh yeah, we really don't do that many. Thanksgiving's prop and like the holidays we'll do,
Yeah.
but potentially like that's
Just to have it done, you just have a day where she records the videos and there you have them. You can edit them whenever you want or you just have
right.
them. So
Yeah.
you're not dependent on her schedule to get done what you need to get done.
Right, right. And
Um,
then the taking that would be the point of making it a consistent thing because it's not necessarily something that we do every year. Sometimes
yeah,
I just make like a nice graphic and I'll send it out. But this year I was like, yeah, a nice little like
yeah,
gratitude
I like
video would
that.
be a good idea.
No, I like
Exactly.
that.
Yeah. And so if you're trying to lean into more video, just having a video, we literally had this conversation recently of having either a content creation day on our team or a video day. And she felt like that would be too much on her schedule. So we actually did talk about this recently where she said, give her some ideas and like one or two videos that she can record on her own she'll send to me for me to like add more reels into our marketing, and this idea came up after that conversation. So all of those things are ways that you can systematize it though, right? Like if we had already had this in place, I'd be like, okay, so for the month of November, here's the reels that I want you to do. And maybe at that point it would have dawned on me like, yeah, do a gratitude reel for Thanksgiving and I'll get that sent out to you.
Yeah,
So yeah.
no, I love it.
Well, however you are approaching your week, hopefully you can take a beat, take a deep breath, because we all know short weeks can be chaotic, and yet they are leading up to something exciting, right? Hopefully exciting, not anxious filled, right? And that's why you're doing it. And so if you're feeling overwhelmed, it's okay. Don't live in it, but it's okay to admit it and then just try to have that come down a bit, right? Take your deep breaths and then just do one thing. What's just one thing that you can do? And probably to the extent of what we're saying, if you feel like there's 1,000 things that you need to get done, first make a list. That's right. That's an ops thing to say, but literally make like a list, checklist, just brain dump on a piece of paper all the things that are just in your head that need to happen. And then that's how you can decide, does it really need to happen? Can it be deleted? Just cross it off, right? Can it be delayed? And then decide like videos, right? Okay, we're going to push this to this week instead. It can be delegated. Okay, I'm going to ask my VA to get these done for me.
Yep. And
Yeah,
just keep in mind that it's temporary. That's what
it's
I took out of
temporary.
this. You can do anything for a short amount of time as long as it's not permanent. So if you are stressed this week because of the extra, it's temporary because you do get a Thursday and a Friday, hopefully. So
Exactly. Yeah. And hopefully Saturday and Sunday too. Hopefully you guys, most of
yeah.
you will have a 4-day weekend or the majority of the 4-day weekend to enjoy.
Yeah.
So whatever it is you're doing, from us to you, have a very happy Thanksgiving.
Yes. Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Bye.
Bye.